Hi everyone, welcome to another video. This video I'm not going to be doing any painting or any conversion or any hobby. Well, what I am going to be doing is just talking to you about my Silver Skulls Space Marine collection. So I've got quite a good collection going on now, so I thought it'd be nice just to get it out really and just talk people through what I've collected, why I've collected it, and maybe what I'm going to do next as well. So I guess I should just start with why I decided to do Silver Skulls. So a couple of years ago, when the new Warhammer 40k rulebook came out, I decided to do a new Space Marine army because I wanted to play some games, because I'd not played many games for many years. I was always more of a painter. So I needed to choose a Space Marine chapter, and I know that I had to do it pretty quickly, and also it would never get done if I didn't choose something simple and easy to do. So I just had a look at the chapters that were out there and what was available, and started to decide really what to go for. I wanted a chapter which was quite well known, and I also wanted a chapter maybe that I could get transfers for quite easily as well. And also I knew that it had to be a simple colour scheme, something that I could do quite quickly. So I had a look around, and I've got the original Rogue Trader book here, and I found that the Silver Skulls appeared in there in the original one, and I was quite struck by that people hadn't done more of them, considering that they were in the original Rogue Trader book, and they've got quite a bit of heritage now, I think. But if you look online, or you do a search, you don't really see many images of them, and they've got a cool background as well. So I had a read of that, the fact that they take heads. Apparently they're trophy takers. And they've got librarians, which are called prognosticators, which help them foresee events in battles and things as well. So I thought that their background was kind of cool. And then I did from that I did a colour test model, which worked quite well. And I thought, okay, that was quick and it looks effective. It didn't look bad, and I knew that I could actually get through them quite quickly, and then I could actually start playing some games, which was the main goal really, just to play some games of 40k again. So I chose the Silver Skulls. So what I did next was I had a look around for, because I knew I wanted to paint them quickly, but I needed some transfers as well, because I didn't want to make my own, and these are metallic transfers. So I found these, which are on the Chaos Space Marine transfer sheet, and they're exactly the same icon that the Silver Skulls use. So these are the Iron Warrior transfers. So I was quite lucky that they're exactly the same. So get a lot of comments from people when I show my Silver Skulls that they're Iron Warriors. It's like, it's the same chapter symbol. So I use those. What I'm going to start using more of though is the new Silver Skulls icon off the new Chaos Space Marine transfer sheet. I think it's a little bit better, and these are obviously going to be more available because these aren't available anymore. So I'm going to start phasing these ones out and then using these ones more, which I quite like as well, and get different sizes, so I can use them on the vehicles and things as well. So I've got a colour scheme and I've got my transfers available, so that's all great. I also use the regular Marine transfers as well. So I use the squad marking ones and then paint over them with the red colour that I use. I'll show you that in a minute. And I also use lots of numbered ones as well, and you'll see those in a minute as well. So what was cool with the background with the Silver Skulls? Before, it was a little bit up in the air as to their heritage, which chapter that they belong to. But in the new Space Marine Codex, it's been clarified that they're actually an Ultramarine successor chapter, which was hinted at but never really, solidly put in the background. But now it's actually in there, so it's official that they're Ultramarine successors. So, and that's really cool because I actually themed mine that way anyway. I play them as Ultramarines in the rules, so that's kind of nice for me to know that that's all official. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to talk you through what I've painted really briefly, and any special things which I think might be interesting, and I'll show you some models as well. Okay, so the first thing I did was I did that colour test model. So always do a colour test model. Don't just go straight into an army. Obviously, I wanted to get my recipes down for my colours and make sure that the method was right. So this was one of the first models I did. So it's just a basic intercessor. It's a great start for that. So I used so really quickly, it was a Chaos Black spray. And then over the top of that was Lead Belcher spray. Maybe not as heavy as the Chaos Black spray, just got a coat on there. And then once that was dry, the whole thing got a wash of, it was a little mix of Nuln Oil and a touch of black ink, but I think if you wanted to make that mix now, you could just go 9 oil and add a little bit of black Templar contrast paint if you wanted just to make that a little bit stronger. The main intention with adding the ink was just to make the pigment a little bit stronger, and that just went over the whole model basically. And then this lower armour here, well, the main body basically has got no highlights on it, it's just the wash, and any light that hits is just where the wash hasn't settled, and it's quite effective. And the heads were painted separately, and they're a brighter silver. So the original colour scheme is they have brighter silver helmets, so that's what pops them out and focuses the attention on the head as well, which is quite nice. And then any other parts is really quickly and simply painted. So the leather is just a base coat and a wash. Some of the other characters have got highlights, but had to get through it quickly. So the main goal with this is just make them neat, get some decent transfers on there, nice and flat. And then as a squad, they'll look great. And then the thing that actually took the longest was the red on the guns, because that's got a highlight on as well. I think I want to go back eventually and have another highlight on those guns, but that's going to take quite a while, so I'll save that for the future. And the helmets as well, a bit more attention onto those. So this was just bright Stormhost silver. Then I did some glowing eyes, which is similar to the glowing eyes tutorial video that I've done. And then this one in particular is he's a veteran intercessor. So I've got a squad of 10 of these in my army. So you would have seen that on the video. And I've just added this marksman's honour on all of their shoulder pads, just so I know straight away which ones are in that squad. So this is their company number here, 3, third company, which is shown by the red. So that could be yellow or whatever colour company it is. So the tactical marking there is red. So this was a white transfer that I just painted over. And then this here as well is their squad number on the back. So I know when I'm playing games, when I'm viewing from the back, because obviously these guys look quite similar, it's quite nice to have that disc there on the power plant with the squad number on. So I know I can just remove them and move them around as I want to. So, and it's quite a nice little detail to have. So that's the basic intercessor. So once I was happy with that, I started painting some squads. So basically I painted the contents of Dark Imperium first, I think like a lot of people did. And these are just the sergeants from those squads that I did. So originally these sergeants, this guy was just pointing, but obviously then we were allowed to have power swords on the sergeants. So I did a little conversion there with him, which was quite nice. And the other sergeant as well. So this is from the multi-part intercessors, because I added another 5. I gave him a power sword too. So that's another small conversion, but it's worth doing. And then recently, this guy did have a sword, broke his arm off. Now he's got a power fist, because we can have power fists now. And they're pretty good on these sergeants. So he's my veteran sergeant there. He's got his bullet marking there. So he's kind of cool. So these are all painted in exactly the same way. So then I think it was the Hellblasters next from that set. So obviously Hellblasters are amazing. So they're always useful to take in the game. So painted in the same way, except the main thing with this is the glowing plasma coils there. And I'll do a tutorial on glowing plasma coils soon, because I think they're quite nice to do and I do enjoy doing them. And I've got 2 sergeants there because I've got 2 squads as well. So this is the sergeant from Dark Imperium. And the other squad I've got is the same easy build ones from the starter set, but I wanted my sergeant just to be a bit different in my second squad. So I just converted him a little bit with one of the arms from the multi-part set, which I had spare, and then gave him a different head as well. So that's kind of cool. And they've got all the same markings on, and squad markings on the back. So he's squad 7, he's squad 10. So there you go. That's the Hellblasters. I did some Reavers quite early on as well, mainly because I love the models. I don't tend to use them that much in the game at the minute, but I'm going to be using them more soon, because we've got the new rules and they're a little bit better now. So my Reavers, the main colour scheme is very similar, but they're a bit more stealthy, so I wanted just to do something a little bit different. So I painted the top of the helmets in the black. So imagine when they're on the battlefield and ducking and diving around, you might not see the helmets so much. They wouldn't want these bright silver helmets to be giving their positions away, was the idea, and just to make them feel a bit different. Got more grenades and a bit more detail on these. I think I added a few more highlights on the packs on these guys as well. I spent a little bit more time on them, and the squad number on the back there as well, and then the assault marking on the shoulder pad, and then we did the sergeant for these as well. So he looks pretty cool. So I love this set as well. Really well sculpted. Yeah, and I gave them the grav chutes as well, so they can drop in where needed, just to cause some trouble. And there we go, that's those. And then I did the Inceptors from that set. So these guys, I do like using these. I don't use them as much these days because my armies tend to be more of a gunline army. So, but these are cool. They're cool models. So I did 3 of these, just the ones from the set, which are really nice. I pinned them onto the back of these stands as well because it's very durable. So I can just move them off when they're in the case, and then just pop them back on when I need to. So I recommend pinning those if you can. Yeah, and everything else is the same. I just added a little bit of scorch marks here on the backpacks, which is quite cool. And the squad number there on the disc as well. So that's something that all the Primaris Marines have got, is that disc area there. So I recommend using that for something, whether it be the squad marking or the, you know, the company number or something is always quite nice. Okay, so I'll go on to the aggressors. I did some easy build aggressors. I know a lot of people use the Boltstorm ones, but someone gave me some of these, and I was like, I just really love the Flamer guys. I just use them quite a lot, and if they get in range, they can make a mess. And I love the models as well. So this is the Aggressor Sergeant. I'm in 2 minds about whether to go back to all of my sergeants and add a red stripe down the helmets or not. Because they're Silver Skulls, I didn't want to go messing with that part of them, but I still might go back. And you can see here on this Sergeant guys, very basic paint job again. I mean, even the Purity Seals currently don't have any script on them, but I can go back later if I want to. The main thing is just to get them on the table so I can play some games. And we'll go on to more of the army in just a minute. Okay, so some of the next things I added were actually 2 Venerable Dreadnoughts, weirdly enough. I had 2 just on sprues, just lying around in my drawer, and I was like, okay, I need to boost my Marine Force up quite quickly. What have I got? So I just ended up putting 2 of these together. And it just so happens that they're actually really good in the game as well, and I use them quite a lot, and a lot of the Marine players use them because of how great they are at, just within the game. I won't go into the rules or anything, but they're quite good. So I did 2 of these. So I've got a few different arm loadouts for these. So I've got assault cannons and plasma cannons, and then missile launchers as well. So I can swap the arms off, and then depending on who I'm playing and what I need, but I tend to use them with the twin las cannons really, because they never miss. They're very, very good. So yeah, I mean, I've named both of them as well. So, and then I just chose their numbers, and they've got the same company marking there on the sarcophagus, and they're slightly different. I think I'd like to go back to these at some point, maybe add some more Purity Seals to them and things. It might be quite nice. So this one's more of a close combat guy. This one is stand at the back and shoot. But yeah, they're both great in the game, and I use them quite a lot, so it's quite fun. So I've got that Dreadnought, but then I've got the Redemptor Dreadnought. It's everyone's favourite. So I did him originally with the Macro Plasma Incinerator, and I used it in a few games, and then I tried out this the Heavy Onslaught Gatling Cannon, and I just preferred it a lot more. So he's always got that now. When he was cool. This is the multi-part one. I've got another one put together, which is the easy build one. But he's part painted. So yeah, so this is cool. I've got the big chapter symbol there. Painted very similar, same way, so it's just sprayed, but you might just see that I've added like little nicks and chips and bits of battle damage on it just to give it some texture and some interest as well. And his name as well across the front there, Lazarius, which is something to do. We'll do a tutorial video on how to do that soon. Yeah, it's a cool little model. I'll do some more of those, and I love these guys. He has blown up in, I'd say, 90% of my games, so I just tend to just run him forward now so he can explode. And he's pretty scary. He's normally the first thing that dies, mainly because he just runs forward and just draws firepower away from the rest of the force, which is his job. He's died many times. So I watched the battle report once the Bolter Discipline rules changed, I think it was then, and someone used Centurions, and they were just outstanding. And after that battle report, I immediately went and got some Centurions from the shop because of how good they were in that game. So I've got 3 of these, which are the Devastator Centurions, Heavy Bolters, Hurricanes, really cheap in points if you're interested in that sort of thing. But yeah, these guys, they never let me down. They're amazing. So if you collect Space Marines, these are awesome. The only reservation I had was my force was mainly Primaris. Obviously, I had the Venerable Dreadnoughts, but I don't think they really counted. But these guys, they're obviously Centurions. So what I did was I got some aggressor helmets and I popped them in there. And I was surprised at how nicely they fit and how they just pulled it in with the rest of the force. So that was really nice. And yeah, so I got 3 of these and they just spit out so many bullets. It's insane. And they're great as well. And they've got even better in the new rules as well. So highly recommend doing some of these. So next, I actually tested this Stormhawk Interceptor out in a game before I painted it, because I was like, oh, what? I need a flyer. What should I get? So I just tried this out. It wasn't even, I just borrowed one and that was just glued together. And it was great in that one game. And just off that one game, I went and bought one and painted one of these. And I use this occasionally and it's just fun, just to fly around the battlefield and cause trouble. So yeah, but this is painted the same way. So it's black with the spray, more battle damage as well. Very similar to how the Dreadnought was done. I wanted some black featured across it as well. So I just painted out those areas. So this runs across there. So it's got his fast attack markings on the wings. So yeah, and obviously he's got his flying stand as well. Some nice scorch marks on the exhaust as well. Yeah, and this is actually my army badge, the campaign badge, which you'll see on a few of the models. So I'd like to go back and add some more of those eventually, I think, as well. But it's on the vehicles. And then the yellow tips on the missiles is something that I like to do. It's a nice touch as well. We used to do it when we were figure painters in the heavy metal team. And I just carry on doing that now as well. So, and then the red on the weapons as well is just the spot colour that runs across all the models. So that's that. And then last Christmas, I spent the whole of my Christmas break painting this thing. So it took ages to assemble because I prepped it quite well, I think. So I wanted it to be really well. So the repulsor was something that I wanted in my army as well. It's a centerpiece. I want to use it as much as I can, but I tend not to play many games with it yet. So I'm going to play some more. But basically it's the same method with the painting. Sprayed, lead belcher, like a wash over the whole thing, and then a dry brush over the top again with the gunmetal. And then just going around with the edges with the silver, adding lots of battle damage. Yeah, it was a big project this. It took a couple of weeks and it was the whole Christmas break, but it was fun to do. And then obviously we've got the loadout that I picked as well is something I wanted, some missile launchers, and then the heavy onslaughts as well. So just a bit of everything really. It's just a bit of fun and it's really cool. So basically the idea is the aggressors with the flamers, they go in here and then jump out and kill everything. So if it gets that far. So that's what I do with that thing. So after this, we'll go on to talk about some characters now. Okay, so obviously we've got a couple of characters in this army. So the first one is just, I've got 2 Space Marine lieutenants, and this is just one of them. It's just the one I always use, someone with a sword. I mean, why wouldn't you? So he's painted the same way. I think I just added a tiny highlight on the armor here and there because he's a character. So I just picked it out. And he's got this symbol here is something that all of my HQ have got. So it's just the elite symbol with the red skull. So that's on all of my HQ choices. This model, after using him in a few games, I felt he got lost amongst squads. So I've added this halo on the back of his backpack there, just so when he's on the battlefield, I can immediately pick him out, and so can the enemy, I suppose. But yeah, so that's why I did that, and just to make him feel a little bit more special. And again, I mean, I could do a stripe down his helmet as well, but I kind of feel like that they should have pure silver helmets. That wouldn't really matter with them. And this guy's got a little bit more treatment as well. He's got like Purity Seal text and a little bit of glow on his sword. So, and then this red skull there is for the HQ as well, which is a codex thing. So after him, I painted this guy. So this was my captain that I used for quite a while. I tend not to use him that much anymore because I've painted other characters, which I'll show you in a second. So this is, I think I called him Argentus, and he actually featured in the, let me show you, just so I can brag a little bit. He featured in the recent chapter approved book, as a custom character. And like there's some of the other Silver Skulls there that we've just seen, which is kind of cool. The thing that marks him out is that I put a Reaver head on him because obviously he's a Silver Skull, so I imagine all of the characters have those masks. So yeah, I spent a long time on him compared to the other ones. I think it's probably about 3 days worth of painting, so 3 8-hour sessions, so 3 days of painting. Yeah, we did the lightning on the sword there. You've seen the video tutorial. So we've got Argent there on the bolter. Bolter's got the extra highlights on. I mean, ideally, I'd like all of them to look like this, but I haven't got that sort of time. HQ symbol. Yeah, a mortis there on his shoulder pad. Yeah, so that's him, Argentus. I've noticed through my army I've got a few different skin tones as well, which I like to do, just to mix it up, and it adds some interest as well. So it's always nice to do that. So he's my Silver Skull captain. The next one I added was the Ancient. So not technically a HQ, but he's an elite's choice, but he would be with a HQ. So again, this was something I added a little bit later, but he was so good in the game. Everyone was, you know, if you've got a Primaris army, you use this guy. I think a lot of people do. The banner was interesting to do, I think, in particular. The skull in the middle was freehand. Tried to make it have that metallic feel, so that was done with greys and blacks and whites. Freehand there with the Silver Skull on the scroll, and we did some text there as well, just like we did in the Purity Seal video. Same thing there. That's the wiggly lines, and then just to give them a nod back to their parent chapter, I've done the ultramarine symbol there just on the heraldry, which I thought was something quite nice and a little bit interesting. Just to pick his helmet out there because he didn't have anything on it. I put a little. That's a transfer, so that's off one of the new transfer sheets. So yeah, and he's always in my army because he helps a lot. So that's cool. So that's my Ancient. Obviously, we talked about the background of the Silver Skulls earlier, and that they use prognosticators, which are basically their librarians. So I knew I'd have to have a librarian at some point. So I painted this guy. So he's my librarian. I used the helmet because I thought it would go in with the rest of the army, the theme, the Silver Skulls. So, and it would pop the head out quite a lot as well, get some attention on there. So this guy is, I think you pronounce it Bihan. It's basically one of the characters from the Silver Skull novels. Because I asked the author Sarah, who told me the name of the librarian. So I put that in my army, which was something kind of cool, I suppose. And then got a bit of freehand there on the robe at the bottom there. It's a character, so we had a little bit more. You know, I think he took about 3 days as well. Some glow there on his force weapon. And another nice little thing with this guy, he's got a little bit of glow on his hand as well, because obviously he's casting wizardy spells, so he's doing his thing. Yeah, and he's in my army quite often as well, because obviously he's great and helps out a lot. So the character I did after that was a kit bash. So this was a conversion. So similar to the conversion that's in my how to convert a chain captain. So this is a smash captain basically. But what I didn't, the smash captain is a space marine captain with a jump pack and a hammer, a thunder hammer and a storm shield. But you can't have a Primaris one. So I wanted a Primaris one to go in with the rest of my army. So and then just use regular marine rules for him. So that's what this guy is. So these are Terminator arms, which fit really nicely with the Gravis suit because it's about the same bulk. And this is a Terminator Sergeant storm shield. Yes, and then I trimmed the hood back as well on the conversion so that you could see more of his head because I felt it enclosed him as a character a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, it's just a couple of Terminator arms really on a spare Inceptor body. And then this halo was taken off the Gravis Captain from the Dark Imperium set. And his name is Ochillo, which is Latin for smash, which I thought was kind of cheesy. But yeah, I just Googled it and thought, yep, that's his name. But yeah, he's in my army quite a lot as well. He's in my tournament army list, which I use a lot. I've added a little bit of glow there in the power source and a little bit of light in there on the hammer, just to make him look a bit scary. And there's one of the new transfers there. And he's actually pinned onto a bit of scenery, so no flying stand for him. So he's really durable. He's never going to break. well, unless I really try, but yeah, and he's cool. So and then did this guy, which is Marnius. Basically, he's Marnius Calgar. These are the rules I use him as, but he's affectionately known as Marnius Skullgar because of the silver skulls. I know, it's bad, but yeah, that's his name. So he's I took the model and then took off all the ultramarine iconography. So he had them on the backs of his power fists, there and there. I think he had them on his shoulder pad as well. And he had some ultramarine symbols on the inside of his cloak, which I scraped off and then filled. And then ultramarine symbols on the bottom of his tabard here as well, which I had to scrape off and then re-sculpt skulls on. So yeah, there was a bit of work on it. Oh, and there was one on his belt. So what I did was I took the ultramarine symbol off his belt and then carved off a skull off another kit and glued it in there. So, and then obviously he's got the skull face mask as well. There was an ultramarine symbol inside his halo, so I carved that out and popped a skull in there as well. So he's fully skulled up, and he's awesome in the game, so I use him quite a lot, especially for smaller games. But yeah, so and it's a wicked model, so yeah, that's awesome. And then the last guy, which I'll show you, is the big man himself. So this is Reboot. So I tend not to use him in many games that are less than 2,000 points. So he was one of my hobby challenge. So as a group of us, we were doing hobby challenges together, and this was to get this guy painted because I knew I wanted to do him, but I kept putting it off. So this is Reboot Skullerman. We've done a slightly modified suit here. So same thing as Calgar, took off the ultramarine symbol. So this is sculpted silver skull helmet there, a silver skull icon, and then the same on the knee. And I think that was the only thing I did with him. Originally I did do a different helmet, one with a skull mask, so I sculpted that. And once I started painting it, I really didn't like it, so I just popped the original head back in and he just looks so much better. The blue flame rather than a red flame, because the blue is on the eyes and it's the spot colour through my army, so I did that. And I thought that was quite nice for him as well. And he's in silver and gold. So just really happy with how he came out in the end. And it's always nice to use him in the games. And he's pretty good in the games as well, obviously, being the the big man. Yeah, so that's all of the models. Just quickly talk about the bases as well. So what's making the army work, I think, is the fact that they're all neatly based the same way. So basing an army is really important. So I think without these bases, you'd probably really see how, compared to high-end painting, that these are vastly painted, but the bases, just a little bit of care and attention into those, it can help set your army off. So I guess if you're doing that sort of stuff, it's always nice to keep that in mind as well. Yeah, so that's basically all of my Silver Skull collection at the minute. I've just collected together loads of Vanguard Marines, so I'm going to start working on basically it's another force of Silver Skulls, but they're all the Phobos Armor Vanguard and Invicta tactical war suits, all of that. So I'm going to be working on those next. So basically my army's going to double in size over the next year or so, but that'll be cool because it'll be like playing with a whole different army again. So yeah, so I'm just going to keep working on them, and then probably go back to them as well, and do a little bit more work on some of these other units as well when I get time. So yeah, that's my Silver Skull army. I hope you guys found it interesting, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers, bye.